Hello, and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. Coming up in today's newscast, police may have found the Jerusalem bomber. Hamas is threatening to attack Tel Aviv, and the U.S. claims the Golan doesn't belong to Israel. I'm Denise Wood here with the latest news in Israel. A bus bombing yesterday in Jerusalem injured a total of 21 people, with 16 physically wounded and 5 others suffering from shock. And you'll never believe who police think is responsible for the attack. Of the injured, 2 were critically wounded and 7 are moderately injured. The bombing occurred on an empty number 12 bus in Jerusalem on Moshe Baram Street in the Talpiot neighborhood. The bus exploded in flames, which caught another nearby bus and a private vehicle on fire. And in a turn of events, police believe one of the men in critical condition is the terrorist who was carrying the bomb. The initial investigation indicates that the blast may have ignited earlier than the terrorist intended. The police say that no identifying documents were found on the suspected terrorist, who's about 30 years old. No one has come to ask about his condition, which is only strengthening the suspicion that he was the terrorist carrying the bomb. No one has claimed the attack, but the Hamas and Islamic Jihad terror groups have both praised the bombing. Hamas says the attack is a natural reaction to Israeli desecration of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. On the other hand, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is promising to settle the score with those responsible for the bombing.
אני שולח איחולי החלמה לפצועים. אנחנו נאתר מי הכין את מטען החבלה הזה. אנחנו נגיע למשלחים. אנחנו גם נגיע למי שעומד מאחוריהם. אנחנו נבוא חשבון עם הטרוריסטים הללו.
The attack ended the period of relative calm in the Israeli capital and marks the first time a bus bombing has been used in the current wave of terror, which has been ongoing since October 2015. Hamas has released a new video threatening to attack Israel, and it comes just hours after the Israeli army announced the discovery of a terror tunnel stretching into Israel from Gaza. Hamas has posted a video clip on the YouTube page of the Palestinian Information Center news site, and it shows Hamas terrorists preparing to attack Tel Aviv and Haifa with missiles. The video includes masked men reading, describing the rocket that they're planning to use to strike their so-called Zionist enemy, and then preparing to fire it. The threatening video comes just after the IDF discovered an attack tunnel built from the Gaza Strip into Israeli territory, and now a private company is suggesting it may have found a second. The unnamed firm has been hired to search for tunnels by residents of Israeli communities living near the Gaza Strip. Many residents have complained about hearing digging noises beneath their homes. Now, the company says it's detected a second hollow underground shaft that may have been dug by Hamas to carry out attacks against Israel. The shaft's location isn't yet clear, but it reportedly doesn't lead directly into the Israeli communities closest to southern Gaza. Israeli Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon is stressing that searching for more tunnels is the military's highest priority. He says that Israel isn't seeking another conflict with Hamas, but that if Hamas tries to challenge the Jewish state, it will suffer a very powerful blow. The Israeli Prime Minister has reiterated his statements and is praising the IDF and security forces for discovering the latest tunnel. The tunnel's discovery comes 2 years after Operation Protective Edge in 2014, when the Israeli army entered the Gaza Strip to destroy a network of tunnels being dug across Israel's southern border. A monthly meeting of the UN Security Council on the Middle East didn't quite go as planned and turned into a shouting match between the Israeli and Palestinian ambassadors. The showdown came after UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon addressed the council. Let's give a listen.
Israelis and Palestinians need their leaders to elevate public discourse above mutual accusations and to engage in a constructive dialogue that can rebuild the trust that has all but evaporated.
Mr. President, it is time for real answers. It is time for the truth. Since no one else will ask the hard questions, I will. In the name of the people of Israel, in the name of the Israeli victims, and in the name of the family of Dafna Meir, let me ask the Palestinian representative here with us today, Mr. Mansour, will you condemn Palestinians who commit terror attacks against Israelis? You should stop the hatred. You should stop naming streets after terrorists. Look at the squares in Ramallah. Look at the streets in Jenin. You're naming streets after terrorists.
Are you willing to come and attend these meetings in the presence of the Americans?
We condemn all terrorism in Hebrew, in English,
We
in
condemn
Arabic.
the killing of all innocent civilians, including Palestinian civilians. Do you do the same?
You're
Do you
paying
do
the
the same?
families of the terrorists.
Do you do the same?
You're glorifying terrorism. Shame on you for doing
We
that.
don't.
Shame on you for glorifying terrorism.
Shame on you for killing
Shame on
thousands
you
of Palestinian
for
children.
not saying we condemn all acts of terror, period. Mr. President, silence can be deafening, but in our region, silence kills. It is time for the Palestinian leadership to end their silence and to start acting as leaders. You cannot condemn terrorism. You cannot say it here. I condemn all acts of terror. You cannot say it here. People are looking at you. Palestinian children are looking at you right now, and they say, you cannot say, I condemn all acts of terrorism. One sentence you cannot say. One sentence you cannot say. Shame on you for that. Shame on you for not being able to say it.
The Israeli Prime Minister said this week that Israel will never give up the Golan. And now the U.S. is saying it doesn't think the land belongs to the Jewish state. The U.S. State Department spokesman John Kirby says the Obama administration doesn't think Israel has any claim to the Golan Heights, which it captured in the 1967 war from Syria and annexed in 1981. Kirby claims Democratic and Republican administrations have always held the position that the land doesn't belong to Israel and that it should be settled through negotiations. Germany has also said a unilateral decision by Israel to keep the Golan Heights would breach international law, and the Arab League is calling the move an escalation. The Syrian foreign minister also claimed yesterday that Syria will do whatever is needed to recapture the Golan. If the Golan were returned to Syria, that would mean the current border would be moved to near the Sea of Galilee. The Islamic State, Iranian forces, and the Hezbollah terror group currently reside on the Syrian side of the Golan Heights. American Republican presidential candidate Ted Cruz is responding to the White House's claim, saying the current presence of terrorist organizations on the Syrian border makes it obvious that it would be dangerous and foolish to return the Golan Heights to Syria. Cruz claims that any kind of peace deal for Syria can't force Israel to give up its own security. Israelis are known as dog lovers, and if you walk around Tel Aviv, you'll likely see thousands of people walking their dogs. But a lot of people work long hours and don't have time to walk their dog during the day, which means they need a dog walker. But dogs are man's best friend, so who do you trust to make sure your dog is in good hands? Dogz is a local dog walking platform to help you find the best dog walker in your area. The company's co-founder, Danny Ginogli, is here to tell us more. Thanks for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So first of all, what is Dogz?
What is Dogz? Well, Dogz is a platform which helps dog owners connect with the best professional dog walkers in their neighborhood, but at the same time provides these dog walkers with these advanced management tools to help them optimize and streamline their business straight from their phone.
So basically it's for both sides. It's also for the dog walkers and the people kind of making that connection.
Exactly. It's two platforms in one. On the side of the dog owners, you get to enjoy community reviews and ratings, see which one of your Facebook friends have used these servers to really help with that trust issue. How do I know this is someone legitimate who I can trust with my best friend? Then, of course, you have in-app scheduling. You can book multiple walks ahead of time. You can book either if you're stuck today at work and you're gonna, suddenly your boss has come in and told you, you're not going home till 11 at night and your dog's at home by yourself. We also can help facilitate finding dog walkers. In-app payments so that you can pay by credit card. And finally, you get live reports when the dog walker comes to pick up your dog, and you can actually track the route live in real time to actually see and kind of feel connected with your best friend. And so when you are at work and times are tough, at least you can see, your best friend is having a better afternoon than you. And then for the dog walkers, we've built them all these kind of advanced management tools to help them with their scheduling, analytics, payment optimization. And the idea is to help them not only increase their revenues from their current clientele, but ultimately help them find new clientele as well.
Sure. So it sounds like you've covered basically all the bases. How did you come up with this idea?
Sure. Well, it's been a while. It's around 2 years in the making. I would say my biggest inspiration is my dog Mufasa. It's a big German Shepherd who's my inspiration for why I'm still here. I met my co-founders in university in IDC Herzliya. All of us were dog owners, and we'd all kind of moved from the suburbs into Tel Aviv. And we started up an entrepreneurship club, and we wanted to do something that we felt personally connected to, and all of us had struggled with this, urban dog lifestyle. And so we started out of university. We built our first product, which was more of a community platform, and we were completely bootstrapped. Around this time last year, we won an international startup competition, received our first funding. And then really it's been around a year now of significant market research, working with some of the largest dog walking companies here in Tel Aviv that really helped us mold and shape the product we have today.
Fantastic.
But definitely inspired by our dogs, and that's really, the dog is at the center of everything we do. So,
Definitely.
yeah.
So lastly, I hear you're expanding. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
It's very exciting. Right now last few months we've been getting going in Tel Aviv. Been going really well, been growing every month, and now we're actually in the stages of expanding into London, which is an exciting new market. Around 1.2 million dog owners there. So I've been back and forth already now. We have already a few companies in the pipeline who are coming and onboarding their customers. So we're looking forward to hopefully launching there next month. But yeah, very, very exciting. And London's just the beginning, and who knows where we'll go after. But every big urban city is a potential market for us. Dog walking is one of the fastest growing sectors in the urban dog world. And that's why we feel we can help facilitate that and almost become a benchmark standard, so that people know where and when their dog walker has been out, how long he's been going for, and to really help with that trust.
Definitely.
So that's what we're now looking forward to London, and then we'll see where
Sky's the
where
limit.
Mufasa wants to go next. He decides. He makes all the big decisions in the company. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in, and again,
Thank you for having me.
congratulations.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Wine might be featured as the holy beverage in the Bible and the Torah, but it looks like beer may have a longer history than historians originally thought. A Jerusalem brewery is producing a craft beer with a special taste that they claim Jesus may have been drinking thousands of years ago.
Herzl Brewery makes beer from a wheat that geneticists from Tel Aviv University have identified as the strain used to make beer in Israel 2,000 years ago. The brewery's owner, Itai Gutman, started making the fizzy beverage after reading about the historical strain.
I found this article about these guys at the Tel Aviv University that mapped the genome of the mother of wheat, the same grain I used, and that just made a light bulb light up, and I just contacted them, and within a few days I had several kilograms of this material, which I started to process, and eventually is this beer that we're drinking.
While the beer may have a lot of history, its taste and low alcohol content may explain why wine was the preferred sacred beverage of the Bible. There's a hint of honey and berries in the cloudy suds, which only have 3% alcohol. Herzl Brewery has produced 5 gallons of it, and Gutman and his friends have drunk almost all of it. 1 bottle is left of the holy beer, and they're not planning to make any more.
The flavor was surprising. This is something that we never expected. We got like this kind of a red fruit, kind of a raspberry flavor, and there's no fruit additions into it, and it's only because of the grains we used.
Wine is known as Judaism's sacred beverage, and it's even featured in the Last Supper and one of the New Testament miracles. Yet it's likely that beer was familiar to Jesus and his disciples. The ancient Israelis apparently brought the drink over from Egypt, according to the Jewish Museum in Munich.
The historians, they say that beer is coming from around this area of the world, from the Middle East area, Mesopotamia, and what was there back then. The rumor mentions that it moved back to Europe when the Romans came with the wine that also grew up here, and somehow it came, only the wine stayed here and the beer kind of made into a folk's drink in Europe.
And now for our Hebrew word of the day. Tel Aviv may be a busy city, but it's pretty small, and it's easy to travel around the entire city on a bike. So today's word is ophanaim, which means a bicycle in Hebrew. Tel Aviv is a high-tech hub, but when it comes to transportation, local residents can be pretty old school. Don't be surprised if you see tons of Israelis riding their ophanaim to work. After all, the city is so small, it doesn't take much time to get around on a bike. But if you come and visit and you want to take a bike tour of the city, just be prepared. It can get pretty hot outside and you'll work up a sweat on your ophanaim. It's worth it though, because there's nothing like getting an open-air tour of the White City. Let's go ahead and take a look at the weather forecast. There's beautiful weather in Tel Aviv just in time for Passover. Today it's 79 and sunny, and it should warm up to 85 tomorrow. All right, everybody, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.77 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at iltv.tv, and don't forget to check out our evening update every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching, and see you tonight.